Good morning and welcome to the Race to the South Pole. It is Cold Sweat 2012 update. I'm Sydney Matlaku. Now, 7 teams from 6 nations are racing on foot unassisted to the South Pole, covering a distance of 704 kilometers in absolute icy conditions. We will take a look at the weather for today at the Antarctic, but an important question being asked about these athletes is, don't they stand a risk of suffering frostbite? Definitely is the answer. And that brings us to our next question is, what exactly is frostbite? Well, it is when the actual tissue of either your nose or fingertips gets damaged due to freezing. Ice usually forms in these tissues, which becomes pale and numb. Not good at all. But if you are in sunny South Africa in January, frostbite is not going to be one of your worries. Another question arising from a stroll from Antarctic is, how do you know you've reached the South Pole? Well, that's easy. The north wind changes to a south wind. Just joking. But for now, let's take a look at the leaderboard for the race.
And the teams to begin the race: Team Mission Impossible, Team Mercury, Team From Drift Norway, Team Keep a Child Alive, Team EBB Paper, Team Centerpoint, and Team Slender Woods. And the weather: cloudy with a chance of snow, highs of -26 and lows of -29.
Now, keeping track of these participants in the Race to the South Pole is of the utmost importance, and this is how it's done.
In the beginning of January 2012, 7 teams from 6 nations will race to the South Pole. And thanks to modern technology, we will be able to track their every move and find out who exactly is in the lead. Despite the race taking place in a vast, desolate environment, essentially, these courageous participants are not alone.
The Nova is a product that's going to be tracking the athletes on the Cold Sweat Race to the South Pole. So essentially what it's going to be doing is recording their GPS position, recording their heart rate, their core body temperature, ambient temperature, and sending this on timed intervals over satellite to a web server. Once that information is received on the web server, it's going to be displayed on a map. People can view progress of all the competitors. Another interesting feature that we've developed is the ability for the athletes to send Twitter messages from the actual device. So what they'll end up doing is in camp, or when they set up their tent, they'll be able to actually send messages and let everybody know how they're doing and what hardships they've had along the way. So that for us is quite a challenge, building it all into a product that can handle those temperatures in that environment and for that time period, and to give everybody this information that everybody needs about how they're doing. We can't say that it'll be the first time that they'll be able to send Twitter messages, but certainly for a compact sports device that's tracking athletes and the ability to send messages, we're not aware of any other products that are doing that. So it's quite a lot of functionality that's been developed into the product, and giving the ability of athletes to keep people constantly updated as to how they're doing live is quite a challenge, and the ability to do that over satellite in an area as desolate and remote as the South Pole is quite a challenge. So yes, it will be in some respects quite a first. What we're going to be doing is providing essentially a website page where there will be a map with live information being shown. There'll be graphs and a lot of visual information as to where the athletes are and what they're experiencing. As soon as there's any Twitter messages, those will be fed through live onto the map, and you'll see little icons pop up on the map. So essentially people will be able to go on live and to see at any point in time where they are, who's in the lead, what they're experiencing at the moment. So it's not just in terms of data, but we're trying to bring the whole the whole experience through with all these Twitter messages. So people will be able to get a much more immersive vibe with this whole tracking system.
A historic event in modern communication will soon unfold. We will receive our first tweet from Antarctica and the South Pole. In the race to the South Pole 100 years ago, messaging would certainly have been exponentially slower, as concerned family and colleagues could only ponder the progress. But in the 21st century, all that has changed.
Well, that's it for today from the Race to the South Pole update Cold Sweat. Join us tomorrow, same time, as we see these extreme athletes edging closer to the final destination. From myself, Sydney Matlaku, and the Race to the South Pole team, goodbye.